Okay, good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for coming on. I always appreciate it when you guys do that. I have a couple of announcements and then we're going to get into our guest tonight, who I'm so excited about. So first of all, I just want to remind you that in the month of August, you still have the ability to sign up for Cancun using the payment option. So the payment option right now is for 2 payments. And again, that is open until the end of August. They also have the promotion going right now. If you bring on 2 new distributors this month, and they then have a collective personal volume of 300 or more in September, you gain 200 extra points towards your Cancun dollars that you're earning back for the trip. Big deal. Another big thing, LifeVantage Academy is this weekend. It is always consistently the third Saturday of every month if we are not having an Elite Academy or a global convention. You can go to bigbluecalendar.com and you will see the list of cities that host in a LifeVantage Academy. There is also a virtual one. I'm told it's not live. I don't know the caveats with that, but you can see it virtually as well. I don't know if it's a playback that you can then watch later, but I would just say find one that's closest to you. And if you can, fill your car. We're doing that here in the Boise area. We're going to drive to Twin Falls, which is a couple hours away. But get people together if you don't have one locally and try to get to that. Because I said again, like Jennifer Freeman is just the greatest example of, she was always there, always. And she would drive solo most of the time, bring her son with her. And because of her consistently showing up to this $25 training, it has now catapulted her business in such a big way. So they're so important to be at. I then want to just do a couple shout outs. Let's see. Jen Dykstra, you had a new customer a week ago. Congratulations. Ooh, ooh. Christy and David Westmoreland, not on here. They had 2 customers and one of their new distributors got a new customer. Dawn Turner, 2 new customers. Doris Roberts got one. And Leah Delano, she is a new distributor that I didn't even know about, right? So she was brought in. I'm just going to say this as a teaching moment. So someone in my organization, in my second business center, I have a vet, and she's out of San Diego. And she has a distributor that was just kind of dipping her toe in every once in a while, really a customer. And maybe 6 months ago, she let this veterinarian know that's not really building the business that she was interested in building it. So the veterinarian reached out to me and asked me to reach out to her. I don't even know what level she's on in my business, but we had the greatest conversation, and she now brought in a new distributor. And so for me tonight, when I saw that, I reached out to her and I said, I would love to meet this new team member and just do a Zoom and make sure she comes on board in the right way and that we can help them, because she brought on 3 customers in this last week. So you just never know, right? So that's why it's always so important to treat this like a business, have a hand on your back office, know who's coming in, because you never know deep down in the bowels of your organization where there's someone's going to come out and just really want to run and just go with this. So, and then Tammy Marstein, she welcomed a brand new distributor out of Minnesota. And then Arlene Gore out of Minnesota also welcomed a brand new customer. Christy and David, welcome to the call, you guys, and congratulations on your 2 new customers this past week. You guys are so consistent. And then also congratulations to Cara, who brought someone in too. Okay, so now we're gonna get to the good stuff. So I am so excited about our guest. She has been a friend of mine for a very, very long time. We've had the most beautiful, deep discussions on the phone. We both found ourselves in sad places at times in this business going, this is so hard. I'm wondering if we should keep going. So Kathy Enking is our guest tonight. And Kathy is a new Pro 5. She's out of the Reno, Nevada area. They haven't lived there too long. She's married to Patrick, a wonderful man. They have 3 grown children. Kathy has been a stay-at-home mom for about 12 years, but she's worked as a nurse on and off for 30 years, and most recently as a nutritional therapist in integrative cancer treatment. So Kathy was born a biohacker, she says. Muted. Yep, okay. Kathy was born a biohacker and continually has sought out ways to enhance her health. She believes in food as medicine and the body's ability to heal itself. So LifeVantage and Protandim were a perfect match for her. Having always been a caregiver, she knew nothing about running a business. And the people and culture of LifeVantage have inspired her to expand her vision and take on learning about this wonderful business model and use it as a vehicle to achieve her dreams. And you guys talk about being persistent and consistent and not giving up. That is Kathy. Kathy, I would love it if you would just share with us how were you, what time were you at in your life and how were you introduced to LifeVantage?
Well, thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's been such a, one of the biggest pleasures is really, of course, getting to know the people that we meet in this business. And Tanya is one of those special ones, as you guys know, for sure. So timing is everything, right? For sure, when LifeVantage found me, it was the right timing. Absolutely. So some things that were happening in my life at that time were we had just made a huge move across the country. So we were living in Maine. I was there for 26 years with my husband. We raised our family there, and it was home. It was definitely home for us. And 2008 happened, right? 2008, 2009, we know what happened. And we just found ourselves in a place where we weren't making it where we were. We needed to make some changes. And we had kids in college, trying to do that whole thing, just honestly getting deeper and deeper into debt, quite honestly. And so my husband took a job in Arizona and we moved across the country. It was a huge move. And it was probably about a year, a little over a year after I'd gotten to Arizona that I was introduced to LifeVantage. So another little part of that story, big part of that story, was during the course of that move, I lost both of my parents to stage 4 cancer. So that was, kind of like the whole icing on the cake thing. And I was in a place where I was just reevaluating my whole life, really. I was reevaluating everything and what did I want to do, and, was working in this industry of healthcare really serving me, bringing me joy, that kind of thing. And so I was really looking, I was searching. I've been a searcher my whole life, but I was searching for something, for sure.
And Marisa introduced you to LifeVantage, right?
Correct, yes.
So how did she invite you to take a look at it?
Yeah, so this is crazy, you guys. I was literally like praying for something, as I put, lucrative to come along. I was looking for something. And one day, out of the blue, I received a phone call from her. And she had seen my ad for a nutrition workshop at a yoga studio. And if some of you know Marisa, she's heavily into yoga. And she tries to live and breathe yoga. And I have been a mover my whole life. So I've done lots of different forms of movement and was offered an opportunity to do a yoga, actually do a nutrition workshop for a yoga teacher training program. And so she saw that and she said, "Oh, look at this girl. She's a nutritionist. I got to call her." And if any of you know her, she's just doesn't ever stop. So when she called me, honestly, I knew right away it was network marketing because I had been introduced to the industry probably about 10 years ago and was really very intrigued by it. I have to say, I thought to myself, boy, if you could really do this and figure out how to make it work, it would, I was seeing these people who were making lots of money and it was intriguing. And so I knew it was network marketing, but where I was in my life, I wasn't closed. I was very, very open. I was open to meeting people. I was open to listening to hear what she had to say. And when it had something to do with health, I thought that I should listen.
So you were a cold call?
I was a cold call.
Do you remember what she said, that even though you knew network marketing grabbed your attention?
I do know what she said. She said to me, she said, "Hi, Kathy, my name is Marisa Harrelson. You don't know me. I am a former television news reporter, and I used to do a health beat. And if you're into nutrition and health, which I see you are, I've got something you really need to take a look at. Would you look at an ABC primetime? And she just laid it out like that. I mean, what does she have to lose, right? Yeah. And she said, oh, and well, I can't remember the exact sequence of events, but she did invite me. I don't know if it was that call or maybe the next call. She invited me to her home to see a woman who was a Pro 3 at the time doing a presentation, and that was Sveta Silverman, Dr. Sveta Silverman, which you guys know, probably most of you know, and she was a Pro 3 at the time. And she invited me to her home, and it took me a few invites to get there because I had some things that were going on in my life, and was going to be away and things like that. But she kept calling me. Like I'm pretty sure she probably called me 5 times at least. Mm. And sometimes she called me and I didn't answer the phone. I was like, oh, that's that lady calling again, which is funny. But, once I finally got to a meeting, and I didn't know if I looked rude or not. I was taking a lot of notes on my phone because I didn't have any paper and pen. And I was like, oh my God, this stuff is crazy interesting. So I was taking all kinds of notes on my phone. And of course, Sveta went really, really long. It was a really long presentation. So I had to leave towards the end right away. But she called me back. She followed up with me, and then she invited me to a yoga class, come and I'll give you a free yoga class, and just really put her hand out in friendship to me, really. Mm-hmm. And I think she knew that I was new to the area. I didn't really know that many people. And that's the thing about Marisa, is she is a professional friend maker. She knows how to ask really good questions. And she used third-party validation. She introduced me to Sveta, right? And then she introduced me to Maria Williams. And, pretty much the rest is history.
Great nuggets there, Kathy. That's so good follow-up, right? And we always hear the statistics. People usually make the decision after the 5th follow-up, right? 5 to 8 follow-ups is what it takes. And then the third-party validation. She was introduced to at least 2 people as well. Brought to a home meeting for that second look. And I bet in that home meeting too, Kathy, it was so huge for you to hear the science, but then also see the culture as well, right?
Yes, definitely the science was intriguing. And I know I had to leave early that first time, so I really didn't get to meet that many people, but Marisa always has most of the time she has a pretty good house full. So there were a lot of people there. I don't remember who else was there, but I know she invited me back to another meeting. And, and then I really started to meet people, and I thought, well, these are all professionals. A lot of these people are, some weren't, but a lot of them were professionals, either veterinarians or, like Maria, for instance, had worked in, human resources. I think she was a human resources manager, so for a fairly large company and things like that. So I was like, wow, I was impressed. The people were friendly, and so that was really, I thought, these are people that I could be friends with,
I love it. That's so as a nutritional therapist, tell me what it is that obviously the science got your attention, but you've done tons of research. You probably know herbs and supplements so well. And now having worked with cancer patients, can you give us some of the viewpoints from you, what you've seen our products do in the bodies of other people that we may not even know of, that we haven't heard of, the stories we haven't heard?
Yeah. I don't know if I have stories that you haven't heard, but what really, caught my attention was just, again, it's what we talk about, that foundational, getting at the root cause, right? So that's really, when I went back to nutrition school and was studying functional nutrition, we were always talking about root cause. So how do you just kind of peel away the layers of the onion, right? And get to what that bottom line was, that root cause. And the thing that we talked about weren't you really using the term oxidative stress then. We were talking about symptom overload or body burden or toxic burden on the body. So toxic overload or symptom burden, if you will, was, we actually did evaluations where we look at the symptomology that people are having. So what kinds of symptoms are they having? What organ system is it related to? And then how can we go back down to a root cause? And I'll tell you what, like every single time it comes back to digestion. So that was the thing for me, is like, okay, so we're addressing that too. The root cause is always digestion. It's always inflammation. And that's usually where it begins, is in the gut. And so what the technology that we had at the time was really using, I'd been working with people who were using enzyme therapy. And basically and this is for like some cancer treatments, they were having to take these pills, like over 200 enzyme tablets a day, to actually get the body to start to lower the inflammation, lower the free radical damage. Can you imagine like taking 200 tablets a day or more probably for cancer treatment? And when I saw Protandim and what it was, I was like, holy cow, it's one and done. One pill. And that just blew my mind. I mean, it really blew my mind that you could get the same thing done with one pill. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It really is. So really what I, and what I'd seen, as far as in cancer therapy, it really, honestly, it's another tool. It's just really another tool, and it's just a powerful tool. And what I've seen is that people who stick with the diet, are really very good about the diet, taking the sugars out, taking the inflammatory foods out of the body, and then would get on a good supplement regime, including Protandim, Nerf1 and Nerf2. The clinic I was working at, we were using Nerf1 and Nerf2. And when they stayed in that core, and they were doing other therapies too. Some of them were doing low dose chemo. It just depended on what they had going on in their bodies. Some were going and getting glutathione infusions at other places too. So ozone treatment, other things like that. And what I saw was that the people that really, like, honest to God, stuck with the diet, took the Nerf1, Nerf2, and I'm no longer working at that clinic, but I am in touch with some of the patients, and there are some that are doing really well, and they're still taking Nerf1 and Nerf2.
Wow. And what about the probiotic? When you say a lot of the times the root cause was digestion,
yeah,
we were so excited when we came up with the probio.
Yeah, and I would have loved for him to add that to the protocol at the time, but he was using a different probiotic that also had some research. And so, as a employee, I was an employee there, right? You kind of have to take what you can get. And definitely, that was my job, was working with them, with their gut health, and with with foods, really using foods. But yeah, probiotics were definitely always a part of their protocol. And some of the patients did get on our probiotic. Not all of them, but some of them did get on it, and some of them I know are actually still taking it. In fact, I think we didn't have the Vitality Stack, and because it was about a year ago, we only had the activated essentials, so people were getting on the activated essentials and using that and really liking it. And so yeah, I mean, I think it's a tool that you can use. And I would look at it more, it's like a long-term thing. It's not necessarily going to do something to like completely rid yourself of cancer. Although we've all heard stories, and we've heard other distributors get on. Trying to think, what's the gal's name from Chicago? She has an interesting name. It starts with a T. Oh gosh, I can't remember. She had breast cancer, but basically she was diagnosed with, it was either stage 3 or stage 4 breast cancer, and like literally almost the same day somebody called her up to telling her about Protandim, and she got on Protandim, cleaned up her diet, and the rest is history. And she is a Pro 6 now in
Yeah.
our company.
That's good verbiage, Kathy. I like that. And I think we should use that, you guys, as when we're talking to our customers or prospects or even distributors, right? We're not telling them we're offering them a cure and maybe
Mhm,
not even a solution, but this is a tool. This is a
mhm.
tool for you and your body and what you're dealing with. And I love that verbiage. And
And
how,
it's an extremely powerful tool, I'll just add. And also, because cancer, if you go to cancer.gov,
mm,
cancer is a disease of oxidative stress. That's its root cause. So you can say that. Cancer is a disease of oxidative stress. And if you lower oxidative stress, that can go a long way. It may not help you to heal and get rid of tumors or whatever it is, but you're lightening the load on the body quite a bit.
with our probio and digestion, Kathy, like how does that happen? Like, how is poor digestion creating all this havoc in our body?
Well, yeah, that's a really good question, uh, right? Because I mean, it's really is the first line of defense, because when we ingest whatever it is we ingest, foods and things like that, that whole lining of the digestive tract is just loaded with tons and tons of these little like villi, that actually absorb nutrients. And so if you're continually feeding your body like non-food or a lot of sugar, processed foods, chemical laden foods, bad fats, can be a problem. What happens is that the integrity of that gut wall gets broken down, and you get little holes in it almost. That's what we call leaky gut. So that integrity of the digestive tract, those little villi, they lose their little hairs. They just start to kind of like, the little villi start to kind of go like this. And then you're not absorbing your nutrients anymore. You've got a lot of damage. You've got holes in the digestive tract that's going directly into the bloodstream. So that's how people develop allergies too, is because those, compounds of certain foods will go into the bloodstream, and then your body creates a histamine response from that. And so that histamine response says, something's in there, attack, that shouldn't be. And it starts creating an inflammatory response, which is a healing response. But
Mhm.
then after a period of time, your body gets into that mode of just continually having to be in attack mode, that it just like the immune system gets really taxed, and your body just starts to lose its vibrancy, because again, you're not absorbing your nutrients properly. You're not you know you're having these inflammatory conditions, and you're seeing that oxidative stress, right? We all seen that the breakdown of the cell wall and everything. And that cell wall, that is really, that's where all of the different cellular interactions happen. So if that cell wall is damaged, then it's hard for the cell to do its normal function. And so that's, and then it's just a cascade from there. And you can have things going on in your body for even decades and not even know that anything's really going on, until all of a sudden you wake up and one day you have whatever it is, right? And that's what I saw have happen to my parents. They were mostly pretty healthy. They didn't spend a lot of time in the doctor's office. And then all of a sudden one day it was like, my dad is diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and it's already spread around his entire body. And his first symptom is he had some visual changes, and he was in the eye industry for a long time. So he knew that those visual changes he was having weren't good. And he immediately went to see a doctor, or went to the emergency room. And he already had tumors in his brain, and it was lung cancer, so
Oh,
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, like, yeah, he had aches and pains. He had the things of age that you think about, like, oh, well, it's just I'm getting old. And because they didn't really go to doctors, really didn't believe in running to the doctor all the time, he never really, I don't know, and then it's like, is he getting good medical care? Then you start to wonder that too, like, what kind of care was he getting? Was the doctor really looking into things when he, had complaints? So, it's just to say is that you can have things going on your body long before they ever manifest. And that's why I just think like our products are so incredible, because they deal with that kind of like long term, just staying on something that's continually reducing that oxidative stress and reducing that cellular damage is key. And I've worked with all kinds of different supplements through the years, and even when I worked back in women's health and stuff, and people were walking out with like bagfuls of supplements, and ours do a lot, of what those other supplements would do. So
have you ever seen, Kathy, and this will be my last question, but when we talk about the absorption of the nutrients and when we're eating the good food, wanting our body to get what we're trying to give it, but if the lining and the wall of the gut isn't healthy enough. So have you seen people taking like the essentials pack, Nerf 1 and Nerf 2, and not seeing results? And then upon taking the probiotic, they're getting their gut healthy. So now they're feeling more from Protandim Nerf 1 and Nerf 2. Have you seen a lot of that?
I don't know if a lot, but I've definitely have seen that. And it's different for different people, right? Because some people start with a probiotic and then they go into Nerf 1 and Nerf 2. I will tell you my own experience was that I had always had allergies, and they weren't so much food allergies. It was mostly environmental, or at least if I had food allergies, I didn't really know until later on. I discovered that I was sensitive to gluten. So, I cut that out. But what I noticed was, Tanya, back in the day when some of you might have this experience too, when I joined, we had Nerf 2, we had Canine Health, as it was called then, which is Pet Tandem now, and we had one bottle of skin cream. And after 6 months of being on Protandim, Nerf 2, my allergies were like almost gone. And the way I knew that was that I was also allergic to cats, and I didn't have the cat allergy anymore. And I also noticed that I wasn't having the same symptoms in the spring with the seasonal allergies and things like that. And I knew that it had lowered the inflammation. Now, when we added Nerf 1, then we were taking both of those, right? So that was another level. And I felt some changes then too. I felt more energy. I felt more clarity. But then when we added the probiotic, and actually now this prebiotic, I am telling you guys, like, my gut feels healthier than it ever has in my whole life. And I feel so much better. And I do love that prebiotic. I think that in some ways that makes that probiotic work even better. And I think it was a little bit of it was definitely needed. I'm not going to say it was the missing link, because all things in good time, right? But I love that prebiotic. I think it's...
I was lying. I have one more question then.
Yeah.
So tell us why the prebiotic, because I now have it sitting on my counter so that I remember. But I know I haven't been consistent with it. I haven't made it a part of my Vitality Stack because I don't know why my body needs it. So tell us why we need it.
Yeah. So basically the probiotic is the good bacteria. Then the prebiotic is actually like the food for the probiotic. So you want to have like good soil. So basically what that prebiotic, that's the best way to describe it really, is that it's the food for the probiotic. So it gives the probiotic something healthy to feed on. And also because it contains things, and I can't remember all of the ingredients off the top of my head, but inulin, and then it's got like some seaweed in there and things like that. They're L-glutamine, I think, too, and they're all really super soothing for the gut, and they help to repair and restore the gut as well. those things that are in there. So it has a dual purpose. It's not just that it gives you food for the probiotic, but there's a lot of like really good healing components in there that soothe digestion. And I noticed right away that like even after just like a couple of times of using it, that I felt like when I, well, hate to talk poop, but you know, like when you have a bowel movement, and it was like, for the first time, it felt like everything was evacuating. And that's, I mean, we talk about this a lot in nutrition. We have to talk about people's bowels, because it is honestly, if you are not going to the bathroom, you know, like things aren't good and they get backed up. And that can also create, what do I want to say? It can just create a lot of extra things like in your gut, like fungal infections and yeast and overgrowth of other bad bacteria. So I just felt like it was really soothing the lining of my gut. Actually that probiotic completely got rid of any bloating I ever had, but the prebiotic was just, I don't know, it just kind of has helped. It feels like everything is moving how it's supposed to now. You know, I don't know how else to say it. Everybody's blanked their screens now.
Yeah. So, okay, this is truly the last question.
Yeah.
Vicky asked, how do you know when your gut is healthy? Like, what does a healthy gut feel like? What would be your best answer for that?
Yeah. Well, again, a healthy gut is that, you know, you're having 1 to 2 bowel movements every single day. You're not having any bloating or gas. You are, you know, or no pains in your stomach. And you know, things that maybe had been, like for me with the allergies, because I knew that allergies was related to gut. So like when those allergies went away, I was like, oh, my gut is totally getting better. Like, but you're right. It's hard to kind of know. And, you know, you can go and get some expensive testing done and things like that. And that can be helpful. You can get like a comprehensive digestive stool analysis or something like that, but they're expensive. And I've had them done in the past, but I'm just kind of going on how I feel, unless I have something that were to come up in my life that I felt like I was needing those expensive tests. I mean, I would see that would just, you know, 1 to 2 BMs a day, and you're not having that bloating, gas. You know, I could probably, if I was prepared properly, I could give you like a list of all the GI symptoms that people will have. Burping, a lot of burping, that's another symptom that things aren't digesting well. You might have acid reflux or GERD, you know, something like that. That's another signal that you might be having something going on. Sometimes even people are clearing their throat a lot or things like that. That's even another symptom. And that can be related to food or food sensitivities and things like that. So, yeah.
Awesome. That was great information, Kathy. She didn't know any of the questions I was throwing answers.
No, I didn't.
Do a Q&A.
No, but if you guys are interested, I could definitely like type up those list of symptoms and stuff like that, or get that over to you somehow.
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful for all of us, you know,
yeah, for sure.
Friends and family in our life that are having these, and then we have a tool, right? To help them. So thank you for your time, Kathy. I have one more thing I'm going to read, and then we always end in prayer. You're welcome to stay on with us if you'd like to.
Sure, I'd love to.
Thank you again. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, the one thing I want to read to you guys really quick, Kyle sent this to me, and he was sent this by someone else. So just really listen, because it can be confusing if you don't. It says, this is a story about 4 people: everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was asked to do it. Everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody knew that anybody could do it, but nobody realized that somebody wouldn't do it. And it ended up being that everybody blamed somebody, because nobody actually asked anybody. Did you hear that? I can put this in the comments too when I post this, but what made me, when he said that to me, I'm like, I have to read that to my team because this really is network marketing, right? This is what Darren and LifeVantage and Dr. McCord and the product of Protandem, that's what they want for us to do. They want for us to take accountability, to be the somebody, and not to expect everybody else to talk about it. And then when momentum hits, for the check to just land in our lap because we talk to a few good people that we know will talk to other people, right? That's not how we grow. We grow by being that somebody that goes out and is willing to talk to anybody because you know what you have your hands on. Because if we don't, and sometimes too, we can become resentful of, I brought in 30 people and nobody's talking to anybody. I can't believe it. This is not a blame game. This is you. You're the somebody that needs to go out and talk to anybody and make a friend or do a cold call and tell them they need to see this ABC investigative report when they take a look at it, because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain because we have the most powerful product in the world in our hands, right? I just thought that was so good. Okay, we're going to end in prayer. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much, as always, for just all these amazing people that have taken time out of their night to come on and gather together to learn and grow, to equip us to do what you have put in our lives for us to do. And I just pray throughout this next week that we all take time to just be silent, to listen to your guidance, to be unafraid, to know that your hand is on us and on this opportunity, and that as long as we continue to move forward, even through the no's and the yeses, no matter what, that you're in control. We have no power over that. And again, just help us to surrender it to you, but to not sit in surrender, but to be active in our surrender, so that as we move forward, we can just see all of the amazing things that you have in store for us. So I pray, Lord, that throughout this week, you bless everyone on this call, that all of their goals for the week become reality for them. And if they don't, that they learn the lessons necessary through the things that don't happen. And thank you so much for Kathy tonight, Lord. Just thank you for the fact that she was introduced to LifeVantage and that she took the time to bless us with her beautiful knowledge and beautiful heart, and just pray for continued blessings in her business as well. In your name, amen. All right.
Amen.
Thanks again. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Tanya. Thanks,
Love you
everybody.
guys. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.